Well, thanks very much, Janice, for the very kind introduction. I'm almost embarrassed. Um, yeah, that maybe I sent you a wrong copy. I should have been a much abridged version. Yeah, so sorry to take up all that time. But I think I'd like to actually pause to think about the verse today, because this is the very verse that actually my I had this verse with me all my life now, because actually I put this verse also on the epitaph of my mom's niche, right? It says, "Be not afraid, for I am always with you." And I just like to share a little bit about my mom, rather than about myself, because she actually made me. Um, and I like to actually talk about her because that actually provided me the foundation, all right, to be what I am, and to be comfortable to be what I am. Because my mom was a single mom, right? So she brought me up by working for British families in the old days, in the old colonial days, right? You had these British airmen that came and went every 1 or 2 years. So that's how she worked for these people, and because of that, right, we didn't have a home in that sense. Our house was wherever she worked, and then she would singularly insist that she can only work in that household if the household allowed me in, right? So she was very singular about what she wanted. But however, I like to mention her because at the age of 3, right, she actually met, when I was 3 years old, right, she actually met one of those mate from China, right? That was her friend, and she was a Catholic, and it was that very mate that brought her to the Novena Church, right, in Thompson at that time. And then she attended novena after novena. And because she was not educated, right, and that mate went for Sunday mass because she could, and my mom couldn't get like 2 days off, right? So she would always go to novena. I followed, and all my life, right, that's how I imbibed the Catholic faith. But I didn't become baptized until much later, because we didn't know how to be baptized and all that. We just went to church as a part of life. So so but the key was that she was very singular in her purpose of bringing me up and making sure that I studied, because that was the only way she saw as the way out of poverty, right? But she always said that no matter what it is, right, God will always look after us. And in the Cantonese way, she would say, you know the Tinji will always will po yao, that means will protect us. So so key was that we had to move houses, right, each time, because whenever the British airman finished his stint, she would have to find another job, right, and it could be almost like on the spot. So we had to have this uncertainty in life lah. And sometimes this moving house would happen, moving job and moving house would happen when right in the midst of my exams. But one thing I learned was that, to expect nothing certain in life, right? And I think that has molded me, because, to her, right, my mom, always mentioned that no matter what happens, right, you just know that God is with you, all right? And there is always the next day. And your attitude to life is really how you face life, because you could actually put a lot of misery in the day, or you could actually put a lot of happiness in the day, but really your reaction determines what happens to you in that day, right? So that has always been with me, and that allowed me to make many of the decisions, which were kind of big decisions. First decision was, I took by my mom's doing right, I actually pursued a PhD, right after my chemistry studies, and the idea was to actually be an academic, right, from there. But somehow in me, it was always this willingness to take chances. So I actually moved to IT, which was quite unexpected, right? After spending 8 years in chemistry. But the guy from IBM, who was recruiting, said, come and join IBM and change the world, because you have a chance to do that. Because at that time, technology was very big, right? And they needed quite a number of different kinds of people, diverse sorts of people from different disciplines. I think that actually was very important, right, for the industry to grow, because we had diverse people, right, coming in to actually, improve the solutions, so to speak. So that was a big decision. Then later in life, right, you know, I always believe that whatever happens in life, right, is for a reason. And many people say that, but to me, I think I'm a living example of that, because after that, I joined, Hitachi, and after Hitachi, right, and it just happened that Hitachi was like kind of taken over by, the Australian office at that time, and so we had to disperse. So I dispersed into NCB, right, basically to help form NCS, and that has actually been one of the most defining moments, of my career. And then the next career move was to SGH. And again, because I had always gone, I mean, I was actually maybe kind of like a Sunday Catholic before that. But right after NCS, right, when I left that, I went to church almost every day, and I met Bernard Chen, the late Bernard Chen, who was the Sing Health chairman. And they say, come, if you're free, right, why don't you go and join Sing Health? And that was how I joined. And somehow, I think God always led me to the next path. And that's how, I had the privilege to form IHIS, which was to actually, at last, arrive at medical records that could be seen across, public healthcare. So that actually, enabled me to, to have the most meaningful part of my career. So, so I just like to share that no matter what happens, right, be not afraid, for I am always with you. And manifestation of that came, right, also when I read, one of my idols that was actually Marie Curie, right? So as a young scientist, right, she said something which was always rang a bell, and always, I use that to associate with this be not afraid. Okay, and it was that, nothing in life is to be feared, but only to be understood, right? And this is actually what, to me, what I embrace, and what I think that even science, right, is about discovery of God, right, in all His majesty. So that, in a nutshell, is what I would like to share. And I have always, been. I think I can't be more grateful. I mean, to God for what has happened, and more grateful. I mean, to my mom, right, for what she has taught me. So I mean, this biblical phrase, right? This Isaiah 41:10 rings a bell, and I'm so privileged to be able to share it today. And it's so coincidental that it happens to be, the very phrase that, I always have kept in mind. So thanks, Janice, for the opportunity.